Hello, back again. We're going to continue now making our invoice. So just to set it up, I'm going to start in A10. I'm going to put line item, product, description, quantity, price, and TTL for total. I'm going to put around 5 different things here. Now, instead of me typing it, say you're doing a really large list. I'm going to delete that real quick. If you put your 1 here, and then highlight the cell, grab it there, and just drag down, you get the numbers by itself. So that's really a nice trick, especially if you're doing a large one. If we're, for this small one, I just type it. Now, product. Most of the products and descriptions are going to be larger than these small cells. So I'm going to type up something that is longer. And as you'll notice, it goes over. What you do is you come up, put your cursor between the B and the C until you see the change in the icon, and double click. And what that will do is it will fit it to whatever you put in there. In description, I'm going to put double click again. I'm going to say I'm going to buy 3 of those. I'm going to say the price is $35. I'm going to leave the numbers that way right now and the total blank until we go through all of the formatting. And to save on typing, I'm just going to copy and paste. Control C and Control V. Control C, Control V. Put in different numbers. If you want a little bit more space, you manually drag it out instead of double clicking. And as you'll see, now this is on another page. And of course you don't want that, so I'm going to double click here. I'm going to highlight this. I'm going to make that left justified. The quantity and the price and the total, I'm going to center. The quantity, a regular number is fine. Price, of course, you want it to show as currency. So I'm going to highlight the whole column, because if I do anything else in here, it's also going to be that format. And then I'm going to go to the top menu bar and say Format, Cells, Currency for money. Say OK. And now you have the numbers. Oop, notice I put an extra T in there. There we go. Now, to get your numbers in the total column, very simple formula. I'm going to hit the function wizard. I'm going to move this down so you can see what I'm doing. The answer to a multiplication is a product. So I'm going to scroll down until I get to the P's. I'm going to select product. I'm trying to get this in a spot where you can see what I'm doing. Hit next. Now in these cells right here in the numbers, the first number you want to manipulate, you click on. The second number, click on it. Then you just say OK. There's your answer. Highlight, Format, Cells, Currency, OK. And then instead of having to redo every single one of them, you can just highlight that text. Now, don't double click in it. Just see, and now that's what happens when you double click. So I'm going to have to go in here, just delete it, and then I'm going to have to do that over again. So I'm going to highlight it. So don't double click in something once you've got a formula started. Just highlight the box. I'm going to do that again real quick. Go down to product. And then I'm going to Control C, Control V, and as you see, it brings the formula with you and finishes it up for you. Moving those over, and then I'm going to highlight all of this. Double click the quantity, double click in between price, and now I'm back to one full page. I'm going to double click in between here to make it fit also, to give it some extra space. Move these around until I'm happy. Now, when you give someone an invoice, you don't want it to look like this. Let me show you something. When you don't have lines here, it makes it very difficult to read. So I'm going to close the preview. I'm going to highlight this section, go up here to the bar, and I'm going to say that I want borders around the whole thing. And now it's just going to look a little nicer. Go to page preview again to take a look at it. And that looks a little bit better. I'm being kind of picky here, but oh well. Alright, now, say for instance you didn't have the line item or you didn't need that, because I'm going to show you some sorting and the line item is going to kind of get in the way of that. So I'm going to highlight the column. I'm going to right click and I'm going to say delete column. Then you can also insert columns doing that. Highlight, click, insert. You can do the same in rows. Highlight, click, insert row. I'm going to highlight this whole row here. Control C. Click inside one cell. Control V to paste. And then you need a grand total. Highlight all of these. Go down a couple of rows and hit the sum button. And for that to show up, I'm going to make that 14 point. Right here. Put total. Also make that 14 point. So that stands out for the person that needs to be reading the invoice. Lots of times you need to say where the budget money is coming from, so you'd select your text box again. And you'd have your budget number. I would give that a line. So I'm going to say I want a continuous at one point. And then you have this going on where when you have a line where it's right up against it. So you right click, go to text, tell it where you want to anchor it to, which is the top, and then I'm going to give it a little bit more space on each one. See, and then it gives it a nice border so you can read that. Now to sort, say you wanted this sorted in some particular row. So in order to get this, I'm going to come in here, I'm going to take out DVD player on that, Take out this. Name that something else. Oh. And again, highlight here. Make that bold so it's easier to read. And then sorting. You highlight what you want to sort. Data, sort. And then since I didn't highlight the top part, I'm not going to have to go to options and say that the range includes the column labels. If you did highlight product and description and quantity, you would need to select that. So I am going to sort it by product, which is in column A. And then I'm going to say OK. And as you see, it sorts it and it takes all the other information with it. So we've pretty much covered all the basics. Text boxes, rectangles that you can use as text boxes, rows, columns, viewing pages with lines, sorting, and simple formulas. Formula and the sum. Thanks.